Hello there, you are very welcome back to SevHeads, the unofficial Severance recap podcast with myself, Fionnuala.
And me, David H.
And you, David H. Fionnuala J, David H. I forgot to do that, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's completely the perfect location we're in. We're in an office.
We are in the office. Shout out to the tower buildings.
We're on the severed floor
We're
of the
on
tower
the severed
buildings.
floor of the tower buildings. I can't even begin to explain. I don't know. I booked a room because the studio was not available. And I'm fairly sure I said it was only for 2 people. And I cannot even begin to explain how large this office is.
So big. Like it's like a full board room meeting.
It's so
the board
funny.
but the board have concluded the call, unfortunately.
I wish, but like my mic kind of looks like the board thing that people talk into, don't they?
Very true. There you go.
Very,
it totally does.
Very bored intercom. Very bored intercom. Episode 3, which is called "Who is Alive?"
Who is alive?
Who is alive?
An apt title, as
An
we'll
apt
see
title,
later on.
Yeah.
But wow, what an episode!
Very good.
Like I was on the edge of my office seat.
I was thinking, I was like, where's her Gabby been this whole time? And the episode said, not to worry, she's back this episode.
Yeah, God, she did just kind of pop up, literally.
Literally.
At the front of the car. But I kind of totally forgot about Ragabi, to be honest. I was just like, oh, maybe that's just a part of the story that's gone now.
Yeah.
You know, like Petey or like, what's his name? The guy who Ragabi killed. Grainer.
See, we're kind of skipping ahead to the end of the episode, but I feel like now, do you remember I was saying last episode, Innie Mark doesn't know that Petey's dead?
Yeah.
He's going to know now because of what happened at the end of the episode.
Yes, he is. That is true.
That's so sad.
Also, can I throw back to the first 3 minutes of episode 1, season 2?
Yeah.
Someone online had an interesting theory. Do you remember when Mark is running through the hallways and he goes into to wellness and we see someone in the hallway?
Yeah.
And you thought it was Milchick.
Yeah.
Someone said it could be Grainer in the same way that they did Miss Casey.
Just brought him back.
Yeah. Because I thought he was quite tall. I thought he was taller than Milchick.
Okay.
I didn't think it was the same skin colour as Milchick.
If they had gotten his body though, then would that have led them to her Gabby? Yes or no?
Yes.
Unless her Gabby disposed of the body, I don't know.
Or, that's true. But also Ragabi I think is clever. If Grainer knows where she is, she's moved.
Well, she'd want to be clever. She's drilling into people's heads.
Yes. Well, she was.
She was. We'll get to it. We're so far ahead of ourselves because we have to start with.
But look, we literally just finished it.
Yeah, I know. We're
that's why
we're giddy goats. Also apt because the episode
very good.
I try, girls. We're with Miss Harmony Cobell. She's asleep in her car on the road. She seems to be driving somewhere, having left whatever the hell, presumably the state or town of Keir, onto pastures new. But she doesn't look well. She doesn't seem right.
My only note of this whole scene was it's weird to see Cobell not thriving.
Yeah. Oh, the girlie is not thriving.
She is not thriving.
She couldn't be thriving any less.
No, it's quite sad to see. But I don't know where she's going. She looks like there's nothing around.
No.
And I don't even know if she knows where she's going.
No, I don't think so. Mark is going to work. It seems like he's late. I was getting that impression because he keeps looking at his watch. It's like it's after 11 and he's counting something. What's going on here, do we think?
I've no idea, but I thought he'd... my initial thought when I saw him driving, I thought he was driving quite erratically. And I didn't think he was late. I just thought he was like, I don't care anymore. I thought he was just like, oh, fuck it.
Yeah.
Because he kind of took the corners at a little bit of an angle and he was driving quite fast, I thought. And there was rock music going on. So I was like, is Mark in his like, he's in his phase of rebellion. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what was going on with him. But we then see that as soon as he steps out of the car, he clicks his timer, right? And walks all the way. And he seems quite antsy. He seems like, I really need to go. I need, like, you know what I mean? Like, but not to pee or anything, but just like, I need to get in there and as quick as possible. This is interesting for later on in the episode because we hadn't a clue what he was doing.
No, literally not a breeze. I really thought I'd miss something.
But I thought it was initially, he was doing he was going to time how long he was down. Because last week's episode, producer Adam had a theory where they're in there for much longer than they think they are, downstairs working on the severed floor. So I was like, maybe he's clocked up. Maybe Mark S has listened to the podcast. He's heard Adam's theory and went, fuck, I'm going to time how long I'm down there for.
No, imagine an Innie podcast. Oh my God, is Rickon like Innie World Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
Oh no, girls.
Unfortunately, I think he is, yeah.
I can't even think about that. See, what I think...
There's no escaping Joe Rogan. Even as an innie.
Oh, God. Severance can escape you from everything, but not Joe Rogan. I thought he was trying to meet one of the others on the outside.
Okay,
do you
interesting.
Because you know the way with the staggered entrances?
Yes.
I thought that's what he was trying to do.
That is interesting.
But it wasn't, because then you just see him going to reception and then going in as normal. He doesn't meet anyone on the way in.
Well, there we go. That's how we now know kind of how they can't run into each other.
Yeah, they really can't.
Because he has to go to reception first.
Yeah. Bizarre. That makes sense. And she's like, she's on the phone being like, waiting to be like, yeah, you can go through.
Yeah.
Interesting, very interesting. We're back at the Innies then, and they have some lovely Missing Miss Casey posters. She is looking slay as hell. The bob is bobbing in these posters that I think we later kind of learn or presume that have actually been drawn by Irv.
Was it Irv?
I think so, because it's very similar to another drawing that he does later on in the episode. Again, without jumping too far ahead.
Very true.
I think the style was
When did
similar.
he draw this though? Because I feel like I've seen this picture before. Maybe it was just on
I think it was in the trailer.
Was it in a trailer?
Yeah,
okay.
It was in the trailer, and I think in some of the still images that they released, it was also seen.
Okay.
So they're basically hatching a plan as to figure out what the hell is going on. Again, not really sure what day this is in comparison to, like, it's presumably the next day, question
After
mark?
they've decided to stay.
After they've decided to stay. It must be. It's just like hard when we've seen the Audi perspective first. You know that way?
Yeah, I get what you mean. I don't... So, yeah.
Is it further along? Have they kind of played along for a little while to try and be like, lol?
We're working.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, because Dylan seems very against going anywhere. He
Yeah.
seems like, no, I'm sorry, I actually have stuff to do. And you're
He's
like,
locked in.
Dude, we've realised we don't want to do this work. We're going to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Why are you doing the work?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Why are you pretending like we're meant to be here to work?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to figure everything out.
So, as you said, they're all kind of hatching a plan. Mark and Helena / who knows, they want to find the goat man that we saw in season 1 when they were on their expedition of the building, and they came across a man with a load of goats, and the man was saying they're not ready yet, blah, blah, blah. Irv has to go to O&D, presumably to pass out posters again to see if anyone would have seen her.
Yeah.
And I think they asked Dylan to try the new break room, because they presume there'll be other departments there at some point. And as you said, Dylan is locked in. He's like, I'm working now, but I'm going to finish this and I'll do it later. Like, he's very much like, we'll figure it out. It's fine.
It's not very... Is it OG Dylan? Is he, he's locked in? Because I remember Dylan was one of the people in season 1 who was like, no, I'll actually see you later. You go ahead of me because I've stuff to be doing. Like, he was the one that was like, wanted to work. He's kind of back at that thing. And I know this is jumping ahead again, but later on in the episode, it did kind of tie into something I thought, where I was like, is he starting to realise, like, on the outside, he didn't have a job or something, or he was looking for... Because he seems to be like, I need to show them I'm working hard.
I think it's... As someone who's so perks orientated, I think he's like, I need that visitation suite, and I don't want to jeopardize anything to get there, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I think that's it.
I still don't understand that whole thing, because I wouldn't want to meet anyone. That's why I'm severed. Like, if I get severed... Especially
because he was, like, no, he did get to go outside, but not in the same way and for the same length as the others.
Yeah, he was in a closet.
In a closet, yeah. So from that perspective, I'd be like... Why can I not go outside? I'd like to go outside.
Yeah.
Irv has not been back to O&D, obviously, since Bert left, and Helly acknowledges that. She says, you haven't been back there, have you? And you can see he's a bit sad, he's a bit nervous, he doesn't really want to go. She grabs his hand and is like, you've got this. So presuming, again, we're going off the assumption that it is not Helly in there. I don't know if we said this in the last episode. I know you were sus about the scanning, but I don't think we copped the elevator noises.
Yeah.
She had no elevator noise going down, whereas all the others did, which would, again, we're assuming that it's Helena down there and not Helly.
Mm-hmm.
She must have been watching on the cameras about the Bert and Irv thing as well. Do we think? Because she's being very, being very sympathetic to the cause.
I do kind of understand that, but like, that is just purely going on the thought that she is Helena.
Yeah.
But I thought she was too confident today. She was too confident in her friendship with Irv.
Okay.
I've never seen her that confident. I've only ever seen her like that with Mark, and she's not even like that with Mark. She's still very reserved, even as Helly. Like, she's not that she's reserved, but she's nervous, or she's, she doesn't go into things head on. She's a little bit more like, I don't know, maybe she's a little bit like Helena in that way, where she's kind of, you know, she's not sure of things.
Yeah.
Whereas I felt like she was very sure of her friendship with Irv there, and I thought, and even Irving was a little bit shocked by it.
Yeah, because she doesn't really show that kind of like warmth or comfort, I think. Or not that we've seen before, like obviously herself and Mark smoochy, but
Yes.
interesting. So are you kind of implying then that you think it might actually be Helly on the inside and or do you reckon that maybe they're switching in and out?
No, I still think it's Helly, and they have a plan for, I don't think there's a stopping. By the way, if you wanted to stop these people from going the halls and roaming the halls, you absolutely could. But they've given them hall passes. So they can go wherever they want, whenever they want.
Yeah.
So that's there for a reason. They want them to. Yeah, do you know what? You feed right into our plan.
Yeah.
You'll find something that you think is the thing that, you know, breaks this whole thing wide open. It won't be.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? They'll give them a tiny little crumb, and they'll be like, "Isn't that crazy? That's what we do." Anyway, back to work.
Because I wonder, because again, on the outside, the assumption is, Mark isn't pursuing the Gemma thing, so we can like leave that alone. It's just the fact that all the others were outside. I think they're more worried about them figuring out what Lumen does, as opposed to what they should be worrying about is the fact that they've realised the correlation between Gemma and Miss Casey, and they're like dogs with bones about that. You know what I mean? Because remember Drummond said last episode, he was like, "Oh, Mark's not the issue, it's the sister, because she won't fucking let it alone."
Yeah.
Because I think they're like, "Oh, yeah, they will let them wander the halls and do what they want. They won't find what they want," because they think they're going to be asking questions about Lumen, but they're not. They are technically, but they're more concerned with the fact that like, where the fuck is Miss Casey?
So I'm just thinking, if that's my theory, then do I think that the goats are kind of a red herring?
Maybe.
Like, they have nothing to do with the fact that Miss Casey is alive. Well, they don't seem to. I don't know. So now I'm just thinking, is there something going on with is there actually anything going on with the goats, or is that just to put them off? Is that the whole plan is just, you know, just, I don't know, do something random, put a load of goats on a field in the office. Do you know what I mean? To try and throw them off. So yeah, I do feel like every department has a purpose. I just can't understand what this goat department purpose has, as we'll learn. I actually have a theory about Gemma that I want to share. I can't wait.
So we've seen throughout the series that like fertility is kind of implied and babies. And we know of their struggle of having children. We learned last episode that Mark identified Gemma's body or a burnt up body from the car. Again, still not really sure as to whether that was Gemma's body. I think that Lumen was advertising or offering something around fertility treatments or IVFs, or it's related to their greater plan of bringing
the perfect people in.
Yeah, and bringing Keir back to life in some way. I don't think it's cloning, and I think they've said, I think the creators have come out and said it's not cloning. That would be too obvious.
And obviously, I think people would be pissed off if it was cloning.
Yeah.
Cloning.
So what I think Gemma volunteered for some pilot scheme that Lumen were offering around IVF something related, a new frontier of technology, fertility treatments. And I think she signed up, and she was used as an experiment, or
which didn't go well, and then they had to cover it up, or it went exactly as it was supposed to, but Gemma obviously doesn't know now because she's been severed. Oh my God. That's excellent.
I know.
That is really good.
I think
where
there's
did you come up
something
with
there.
that? What did you see that you were
I feel like it's been knocking around my head for a while, but I wanted to wait until the end of this episode. Also, there's a lot of, we haven't talked about it that much, but maybe I'll send it into the Patreon group.
Are you going to talk about the opening credits?
No, but we'll talk about that. There's a lot of stuff around water in the show that I have never really picked up on because I'm not smart, but other people have, and apparently that's fully linked to like fertility and new life as well. Okay. What were you going to say about the opening credits?
The opening credits, there's babies. There's little babies.
And
everywhere.
Keir is a baby,
Everywhere. So I think you're absolutely onto something there.
It's something about generating new life or bringing people back to life in that kind of sense. So anyway, Dylan has to go to the break room. He's not going to go because he's working. Helly's like, okay, so what happens if we find Miss Casey? What are we going to do? And he's like, well, I'll bring her to the stairwell and I'll be able to bring her to my outie. And like, I don't know what to do, but Audi Mark will know what to do.
Dear Christ, can you imagine that? Because as soon as he said that, I was like, what the fuck do you mean you know what to do?
Mark outside would go into cardiac fucking arrest.
Honestly, instant head explosion. Like, suddenly I've gone to sleep and I've woken up in the fire exit. With my wife.
With my thought that my wife was dead. Jeez. Wife.
I couldn't stop picturing that. I was like, oh my God, don't shock him like that.
Well, look, needless to say, Helly also wasn't keen on the plan. So you're both on the same page there. You can tell she's like not like super. She's like, okay, if you say so. And then she's like, I think Mark realizes the hesitation and then is like, are you sure you're okay helping me out with this? And she's kind of like, yeah. And that's when we get
ending for you.
This scene.
Was it about...
Incredible.
I'm not great with timing, but I think the amount of time that they were kind of just staring at each other was about 6 hours.
Yeah, well, no, it was. It was.
Oh my God.
Oh.
I felt every second of it.
My God. Capital Y yearning girls. They're just like, she's kind of like almost like edging in, but not quite. She's like looking at him to take the lead and he's kind of like smiling as he's like realising.
Because it's Helena. It's because it's Helena.
Yeah.
Because Helly Orr kissed Mark.
Helly Orr would have just kissed him.
Helly Orr kissed Mark. Yeah. Because she's that kind of a person. And I know 5 seconds ago, I was just like, oh, she's a little bit more careful.
You literally just said you thought it was Helly on the inside, I will say.
That was my innie talking. But I think, what I mean by, to go back to that point, Helly, or whoever's in there, Helly in general, I think, is a little bit careful. She goes for it, she throws things at people and she's like, oh, I've got to do this to the extreme to get out of here and stuff like that. But to Irv and to Bert and to Mark, she's quite, or to Irv and Dylan, she's quite, timid, I think, to them. So to see this person, when Helly kissed Mark, I was like, whoa, there we go, there's Helly. And then when Helena was kind of like, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? I was like, no, he's not, because you're the one that kissed him.
Yeah.
And she's Helena.
Still not sure.
Helena's thinking back to what she saw on the laptop on the CCTV.
Yeah.
And
she's going, like, how do I get a bit of that?
How do I get a bit of that? I want that again. Let's do that again.
Yeah.
And she's disappointed because it doesn't happen, because he gets awkward and he's like, see ya.
Yeah, so why do you think he didn't kiss her? Because he got awkward? Surely it's not just that.
Because he didn't kiss her in the first place.
Yeah.
She kissed him.
But you could tell he was so happy when she came back up the lift and, that hug. Like, why is he so... Is it just because it's something he doesn't know? Is he, like, laser focused on the mission?
Yeah, he was a frigid before.
Oh, yeah, But then surely because you're not a frigid anymore, you'd be emboldened.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, my God, imagine if your innie was a frigid, you'd be so embarrassed.
They're all frigids.
They're all frigids. No, that's pathetic, guys. Just get the meat.
Yeah.
Just get the meat.
That's why I think it's Helena, because I think Helly would have kissed him.
Yeah.
Right then and there. And I still think Helly would help him find his wife.
Yeah.
Helly's a good person. Helena's not.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was getting mixed up there. Getting mixed up between my Hellys and my Helenas. So yeah, it looks like they're going to kiss, but they don't. And on their merry way, they carry. Milchick arrives in, the balloons are in the hall, they're a bit deflated, as you said, to show that more time has passed than is being left on.
Very John Mulaney joke.
We love it. And he goes to his office and sure, Natalie's already there, right? Natalie and the board are on the phone and she's like, oh, whatever, we're going to have a little chat, I think. This is when it happens, correct?
Yeah, it is. I found it interesting that he found the balloons, because I thought that's another thought that he's going to go, oh, Mark doesn't give a shit about this place. He doesn't, like Mark S season 1, episode 1, if he got fucking balloons, can you imagine how buzzing he'd be?
Literally, yeah.
Delighted. He left the balloons to deflate. I'd say Milchick was like, fuck, this guy, we don't have this guy anymore. Yeah,
because he was fuming about it. He gets to the office and, as I said, Natalie's there. And Natalie has these paintings for him as a thank you prize. Or, sorry, he thanks the board and the board is like, you're welcome. But we want you, we're so grateful and we're delighted that you've ascended the ranks. And as a token of our appreciation, we have these paintings for you. And it's all paintings of like the Keir cycle that we've kind of seen throughout the seasons of moments in Keir history that we don't fully understand. But like, again, similar enough to the Macrodata uprising where they're all in the sand or whatever, or it looked like they had been beheaded. All of these pictures, but essentially it's like Keir has been made in the image of a black man as opposed to a white man, which is what we've seen previously.
From everyone else.
Yeah. And Milchick is absolutely delighted with this. I was trying to look at specific portraits. I think initially he is, and then I think cogs start turning and he's a bit like,
This is weird.
This is weird. So there's like a scene with nurses looking after a young black boy, a portrait of Keir, and then the image that we have seen before of like Keir looking over a mountain. But again, they're all represented by black men.
Yeah.
And I think it's, if you go back and listen, I think we're going to get way more of Milchick this season. And Tremel Tillman had kind of said it on the official Severance podcast. And it's interesting because like there aren't a lot of black people working for Lumen. And there's certainly not many in leadership that we've seen.
No.
And I think we see it when we see that moment towards when the board call finishes. And Natalie and Seth Milchick are like kind of looking at each other, and there's a moment, and we were both kind of looking at each other to be like, oh, do they?
Yeah, what's going on there?
Are they
Helly marking?
Are they Helly and marking? Are they Helly and marking? Or is it just, again, like two not white people looking at each other being like, oh my God, this is great. We're being recognised by, you know, this company. Like, it's interesting to think of like, supposedly they've created this utopia where you go to work and you never know about it. But still within the structures of the company, you have things like potentially racism and stuff like that.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
So do you think whatever ethnicity Natalie is, did you think when she ever got a painting?
Because she says she got similar paintings, didn't she?
Do you think it was in that reflected her?
Yeah, and then it makes you wonder, like, did Cobell get paintings where it was a woman? Because I think there'd only been ever, well, sorry,
but Helena
female
didn't.
CEO to use. Yeah.
Helly didn't. In season 1 when she completed the quota, it was just Keir. It was a white Keir.
Yeah, but that's because I don't think they're high enough up. I think it's reserved for like,
oh wow, okay,
the high ups, you know?
It's a weird detail.
It is.
Why? Like, because I'd imagine even Milchick is kind of like, I don't need Keir to be black.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what Milchick's belief in Keir is, but I'd imagine it's more the ideals as opposed to the colour of his skin. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe he does want to be reflected.
But I think that makes it a great point that it's like, is he looking at this then being like, this isn't making me feel a part of the company because one, it's not true. Yeah. Like, you're rewriting history about pretending that like all the, like, Keir was ever black. He wasn't. Again, as far as we know, based on what we've seen of like the museum and the perpetuity wing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
he probably
they're
sees
all
it as, like, I feel like towards the end he's like, he sees it maybe as tokenism. Do you know what I mean? So it's just interesting to see that stuff carries over even into this world.
Yeah. And because he's not severed, it can carry over.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's...
Whether it's Mark, you know, and Dylan probably wouldn't know that.
Yeah. Sorry, prior to this, we also see Miss Huang goes and meets Dylan, and she's like, come with me.
Yeah.
And Dylan's like, what? Okay. So, and sorry, also, Irv has also explained that he started drawing what he saw on the outside, the black elevators. And he wants Dylan to go with him to O&D, I think maybe, or else on there to have their look around, whatever. And Dylan's like, no, you should go on your own for stealth. But again, he's not saying that legitimately. He's saying it because he doesn't want to be involved.
Do you also think maybe is Dylan still a little bit scared of O&D? Or is that over? I didn't get that vibe. I'm just saying, is that potentially...
I don't think it's that he's scared of O&D. He's scared of the unknown.
Yeah.
He's scared of not knowing whatever the fuck that elevator is.
Dylan?
Yeah.
I don't think Dylan knows what the elevator is.
But that's what I'm saying, like. But he's seeing this weird... He's like, why are you drawing? Do you know what I mean? I think he's kind of like...
That's weird.
Better the devil you know than the devil you don't, you know?
Fair.
Better the Keir you know than the Keir you don't. We're back with Miss Cobell. Cobell is in the car and she's driving. She's driving somewhere called Salt's Neck, which appears to be 238 miles away. I did not Google the significance of that, did you?
I did not.
I'll Google it quickly while you...
Salt's Neck.
Fill the time.
How about I fill the time with an ADHD thought?
Okay.
The ADHD thought is that, it's so ridiculous. It's just, I'd be annoyed if I didn't say it because it's if on the 0.001% chance it goes through. Cold Harbour is a thing that they're working on. Mm-hmm. And Cobell, we later find out, Cobell wants something. She seemed very into Cold Harbour. Yeah. And I thought, Cold Harbour sounds a little bit like Harmony Cobell. Cobell, Harmony. And I thought, maybe it's something because she seemed very close to it. And then Salt's Neck, yeah. Salt's Neck sounds like Milchick. And I'm wondering, either, again, just an ADHD thought, do not have to confirm or slate me. It's just one of those things where I was like, that kind of sounds... And she just seems quite close to Cold Harbour, that she wants it done.
Yeah, do you know what? Out of politeness, I'm actually not going to engage with either of those things you just said, because I also just googled Salt's Neck, and apparently, like, it's not
a place.
It's not a place in the real world. Okay. So again, the only implication is that it's wherever we are. It's maybe not even necessarily America. You know what I mean? Like, we've already gathered some dystopian timeline. We also see in the car, it looks like an oxygen mask or some kind of medical tubing.
Equipment, yeah.
And it has that hospital tag on it that we saw in the Keir shrine in Harmony's house.
Yeah. So it's we presume a daughter?
We're presuming, because it was Charlotte Cobell on it.
Yeah.
We're presuming a daughter, but again, no evidence of that.
So do you think that if, like, say, is Cold Harbour actually, them making her daughter again or something like that?
But it goes back to my theory of, are they doing it to literally revive people from the dead? Does she have a dead relative? And like, that's why she feels so close to Cold Harbour as well. That's why it's such a non-negotiable for her. Again, skipping ahead to the end. But anyway.
But why is there such a time frame on it?
That is interesting.
Why does it have to meet quota? Do you know?
I wonder, is it something about the bodies expiring or
maybe, yeah.
I'm not sure. Anyway, she's in the car. Date. She's been crying and it seems like she's going to drive on, but she doesn't know her head from her arse, as we'll learn as this episode continues. So she turns back. She comes back the way she came. Then we're back with the innies, and Mark and Helena are going down that corridor again to the goat room, and we're back in that scene where the lights are going in and out depending on where they're walking. Yeah. They're intermittent. Kind of
like Snake. You remember that old TV show or old game show? They're
at the goat room. And they go in, and it's as they left it, but there's no man there and there are no goats. So they're kind of like, That's when they see this hatch, which leads to a smaller corridor. And we get the implication from Helena doesn't want to go through because it stinks, because it's quite literally full of shit.
Yeah, hay and all that kind of stuff.
Hay and shit and piss, probably. But Mark is obviously like, right, we're going through this. This will bring us to our answers.
Do you know what I thought while they were walking through the little goat hatch? I thought their innies, they don't really know that this is weird.
No.
They don't know that this isn't in every office in the world.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They could just be like, oh, and this is where the goats are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't know that this is weird as hell.
Yeah, this is not a normal workplace. So yeah, they go through and they end up in this office that is like a field full of goats.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of like rolling hills, but confined to this one room. And they're kind of like, this is all weird, whatever. They're walking past. Sure enough, there's a fella and he's actually dressed as one of the goats. Like, he's in disguise as a black goat. Like, what's the leader of a goat called? A billy goat. A billy goat?
I don't know.
Yeah. This is not a podcast about goats, but anyway. Well, it kind of is, technically, but don't correct us. I initially thought it was Drummond. We learn later that it's not, but I thought it was Drummond. And then you also thought it might have been the fella we met in season 1 who was originally in the goat room.
Yeah, saying they're not ready.
Yeah. But when we looked at pictures, they were not. So we were like, okay, mystery man, fair enough. That's when the lovely Gwendolyn Christie, love my life, Game of Thrones star, she arrives over the hill.
Is she in Game of Thrones?
She is the
knight?
Don't ask me to explain Game of Thrones characters 8 years later.
No, but she's the knight. She looks after... Yes, Jamie Lang.
Yeah.
Jamie Lannister.
Not Jamie Lang.
Jamie Lang.
Not Jamie Lang in Game of Thrones.
Jamie Lannister, she fancied him.
Yeah, they were like friends.
She was his guard,
his hand or whatever.
Or she was actually the guard of. This is now turned to Game of Thrones podcast.
Oh,
she was the guard of the mother of the Winter. People are screaming at us.
Well, scream away. I barely remember that show. At least I'm admitting that I can't remember.
Lady,
whatever,
of Winterfell.
Yeah. She's been really secret because she's been asked about her role and she's like, I cannot tell you who I am. God. So this is our first sign of her. Now, we saw her in the trailer. She arrives over this hill and she looks like, like kind of like a Lumen milking maid. Her uniform isn't the same as, she's not in a suit or, she's in like a milking parlour dress nearly and like a bandana, like a farm worker, but like in the Lumen colours again, like the greens and the blues and stuff
she has
like that.
a kind of syringe, doesn't she? Like kind of as if she's going to attack.
Yeah, she has some kind of like weapon because she has obviously never met them before and doesn't know what's going on. And she actually says to them, are you here to kill me? And they're obviously like, no, lol. We just wanted to ask you a few things. We're from Macrodata refinement. Yeah. And you know, can you help us, whatever. And that's when she also says, I think Mark asks what this place is. And she says, mammalians nurturable.
Yes.
Which basically just means nurturable mammals, which again, it speaks to their department of, their purpose is to look after these goats. We still don't know what the goats do.
Yeah.
Or like why they're looking after the goats or why they're so essential. So they're in a bit of a standoff. So we go back to Irv. Irv has gone down to O&D. And he
meets Felicia.
He meets Felicia. Felicia's back.
And she's so lovely to him.
She's so lovely when previously it seemed like
she hated
him. And now, as we realise, I think she was a bit jealous of his relationship with Bert, rather.
Do you?
Yes, because as we learned, so she says, it's good to see you. She gives him a big hug.
Yeah.
And because again, I think she understands that it's hard for him to be here. And he, you know, he's tried to explain as well. He's like, look, I don't mean to disturb you, blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of asking, is she doing that for herself or for him or for both? We learn later on when they're chatting and they're kind of sharing stories about Bert, whatever. Like Felicia and Bert, I think she's jealous in the sense of like she had a really good friendship with Bert.
Yeah.
And then when Irv came along and they were like, kiss, and they were both boys. Like I'd say she was like, but that's my friend.
Yeah.
We had such a laugh, and now all his time is spent thinking of you. But now that he's gone, they have a commonality in missing him.
Yeah,
that's what I think. Anyway,
I thought maybe that they, you know, got a relationship, a friendship when we just didn't see it.
Maybe.
You know, when because Irv spent a lot of time with Bert in O&D.
Yeah, I suppose.
So I thought maybe, you know what I mean. And then do you remember when they all meet, when they met the others?
Yeah.
I thought maybe they were okay now.
Yeah.
Because the only person who was kind of hostile was Dylan.
Yeah.
But Bert was like, these are our friends. They're from M&D and they are M&D?
Yes.
They won't do
MDR.
anything. MDR. They won't do anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's when they might have become friends.
Yeah. Maybe.
But the saddest thing ever.
It's
Not
so
the saddest,
sad.
but it's so cute.
But it was very cute. We're back with...
No, the cutest thing. You missed the cute thing.
Oh, what the cute
she
thing?
said about Bert.
Did she say this here?
I'm pretty sure she says it there because they're sitting down and stuff, aren't they?
I think it comes later.
Okay. Go on.
Don't blow your load. It's coming. It's absolutely coming.
Just can't get it. I
know, it's so cute. It's so cute. We're back with Helly and Mark, and that's when they present the missing poster of Miss Casey to this goat woman. And her desk is interesting. She's this like Lumen branded cowbell.
Yeah.
And they're trying to say she ran the wellness sessions. And she's like, wellness, we don't abide such fripperies here. But kind of in her face, Helly's trying to be like, explain, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then Mark's like, are you sure you don't know her? Because Mark has sent something in her face that seemed like some sliver of recognition.
Again, I think it's Helena. Because Helly wouldn't back down.
Yeah.
Helly wouldn't be nervous of this person.
I think Helly would recognise the recognition as well, whereas Helena didn't for some reason.
Helena didn't. So I think, I think Mark was absolutely right. And I was kind of like, Helena, or I was like, Helena, whatever. I was like, shut up, stop. Because I was like, don't ruin this. I was like, let Mark do this because he could bring her around. He could convince her to say what's going on.
Yeah. Now, initially, they're not happy at all with Mark pushing because all of these farmer employees appear from the hills and out through doors.
Out of nowhere.
In the office. And respectfully, they could all do with a wash.
Yeah.
They could all... And what did you say as well? Lumen cultures.
I was like, Lumen cultures, which is incredibly offensive. But I was just like, oh my God.
Cultures? No. Not when I'm on the podcast.
I'm a culture as well. I'm meat. But I was just...
my God, you're worse than me.
I know.
Sorry. You're fake culture. I'm born and bred.
So I was like, oh my God, they have like farmers and stuff. And again, they're kind of like, they're on their own. They almost look at, I was kind of saying, they almost look at Lumen. They were like, we don't have wellness sessions like you dubs.
Yeah.
You know?
You don't need that.
That's a real Dublin thing to get, to be checking in on yourself.
Wellness sessions, notions.
Exactly.
Absolute notions. So yeah, they appear and it all seems very tense. Which is when we're brought back to Dylan with Miss Huang walking through the corridors and he's like, where am I going? What's going on?
I loved this because it was a bit of comedy as well.
Yeah.
Like Dylan is so funny.
Oh, Zach Cherry gets the best lines.
But Zach Cherry's timing is amazing.
It's impeccable. He asks, is it rude to keep asking why you're a kid?
Such a great line.
she's complete silence.
Yeah.
And he also asks if she's being forced to be here.
Yeah.
Again, they're kind of, I don't see any acknowledgement even on that, the actor, the name is escaping me now, but even on her face. She's not giving anything away there.
Nothing. She's so creepy. I think she's excellent.
So creepy. It's really, really good. He is brought to the security room and he's a bit surprised. He's like, why am I here?
The last time I was here, Milchick tackled me.
I was being a very bold boy.
Yeah, and he sliced my belt and he owes me a belt.
He owes me a belt, girls. We go into the room and it looks completely different and sounds completely different. We're getting sounds of waves and seagulls, and on the screens where we'd previously seen, you know, like the inner workings of how the severed employees are activated and are working and
all
stuff
the cameras,
like that.
Yeah.
Like the cameras, we have pictures of Outie Dillon and his wife, who we met last episode but only in voice. And that's when we meet Gretchen G.
I did Google her.
Yeah.
Because in the last episode I was like, well, I have to see what she looks like.
Yeah. Because this is an 18-minute visitation with your Audie's wife that Dylan has won, again, because he's been working so hard. And this is presumably what he's been working towards.
The most lumen thing in the entire world, to give 18 minutes.
So where do they come up with the timing of that?
I don't know. I think they're just trying to be weird.
Crazy. So Gretchen G is sitting there and it is awkward. Like, nobody knows what to do. She suggests that they sit, which they do.
But I think he's enamored. I think he's like, wow. He's
Yeah.
looking at her going, this is amazing. I can't believe this. And I think he's just in shock. Whether she's a little bit awkward, I think. She's
Yeah.
like, really? You don't know me?
Yeah. Yeah. She says, you really don't know me at all. And she goes, oh, Seth warned me that this might be weird. As you pointed out, Dylan doesn't know that Milchick's first name is Seth.
No.
That's never been revealed and never will be. And that's when Miss Wong comes over the intercom to be like, don't share, please refrain from sharing confidential information and stuff like that. And then Gretchen is like, okay, why is she a child? And Miss Wong's like, just because I am. Or what did she say? She's like, who is that? Why is there a child here? And she's like, Miss Wong. And then it's like,
Yeah,
bye.
that child. What's with the child? Miss Wong.
Miss Wong. So then they're just kind of discussing things. She's all her stuff in a bag, but very like airport vibes. It has to be in a clear plastic bag. And he's like, nice sack, which is incredible. And that's when she says, we have 3 kids. And she also explains, my husband has had trouble keeping other jobs.
Yeah. Now I think this is one of the saddest moments we've seen for Dylan, because he's not only getting the image of him being this cool celebrity and playboy destroyed, but he's also learning that he's kind of a failure.
Yeah.
In other ways, you know what I mean? Like with the not being able to keep a job, and he's obviously not the best husband, or, you know, not the best at providing for his family. He would have thought he was fantastic. And this is a real ego hit for him. But he takes it well, I thought.
Yeah.
Sad though.
Yeah, because then he starts asking, he goes, he dumb? He a dick?
He a dumb, he a dick?
He dumb, he a dick? And she says, no, actually, he never quite found his thing.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's not kind of really forgiving of that initially. He's like, so he's a fuck up.
Yeah.
And Gretchen, again, doesn't really know how to answer this. So she's like, do you want to see a picture of the kids? To kind of deflect from this. But again, as you said, it's like Outie Dillon is totally at odds with Innie Dillon. Because we have all these moments of Innie Dillon being like, my Outie's a bodybuilder, my Outie does this and he gets all these women and blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, oh, well, actually, no, like you're actually, quote unquote, better in here because of where your morals, because obviously all Dylan knows is work.
Yeah.
Work is Dylan's only purpose. Of course he's going to be good at it inside. It's not surprising that he thinks that carries over on the outside, but it's interesting to see that it doesn't. So then we're at the picture of the kids. Jim, Ruth, Merrick. In the photo, they're dressed as cowboys. So they're at presumably some kind of like amusement ranch or something. I don't know.
They're in Lanzarote at the Texas Rangers restaurant.
Oh my God, where was I? I think I went to Lanzarote. Val, I don't know if you listen to this podcast. I know you listen to Pop Culture. Where did we go on holidays last year? Lanzarote or?
It was last year. I was like 4. And
no, we went to Lanzarote as the two of us on a girls' holiday, and it was class. But we went to Rancho, Texas. Rancho, Texas.
That's what I'm saying. That's where Dylan was.
And we were so hungover. It was not a buzz.
That's
anyway,
in Puerto del Carmen.
But he doesn't obviously understand what Rancho, Texas is. It's sad that the Indies will never know that. And he goes, oh, and we live on a cattle ranch. And she like kind of finds that funny. And again, you can see the ice kind of thawing.
Yeah.
But you know the way up until this point, we've been peddling this theory that one of them is sick.
Yes.
That he is a sick family member. It's actually kind of, I love how we went so dramatic and dark with that. When actually, I feel like it's just that, and maybe this comes a bit later, so maybe I should hold off saying this, but I've started so I'll finish. Is it maybe just that their actual dynamic is because he feels like he doesn't have a purpose, and we see on the outside later that Gretchen is like clearly the breadwinner, wherever she works as her job. I'm kind of assuming a policewoman or something.
Yeah, she had a blue shirt on.
It kind of seems like Outie Dylan doesn't really maybe appreciate her as much or feels threatened by the fact that she's kept this job and is able to keep a job and he isn't.
Okay, I didn't get that.
What did you get?
I got that on Outie Dylan is kind of useless because when Gretchen is going to work later on in the episode, can I jump forward? We kind of see her being like, okay, we need to do this and you also need to do this and this. And he's like, cookies? What? How do I do that? And she's like, just cut them into slices, put them on the pan, put them in the oven. He's like, oh, okay. I think he's a bit useless.
But I think that's also what I'm saying. Like, I think it's because he isn't fulfilled in a job, it seeps into every other part of his life. And so then he's like, well, I'm a failure, I can't do anything. A bit of like kind of maybe weaponized incompetence in a way. And that's what makes it, he's like, well, I'm useless, whatever. And then Gretchen's having to pick up the pieces of all of that.
That's sad.
It is sad. It is sad.
But I don't want to, I also think potentially my thing from last week could still be true because there was something about the kid. I can't remember what it was. We only got to watch it once. Usually we can watch it twice. But that, the first thing she says is something to do with one of the kids. And I thought, that's weird.
I think she also probably wouldn't want to land that information on him on their first meeting.
Exactly.
If he is sick. Because like, what's the point?
Why would you?
And maybe also Miss Wong's like, don't say anything about that.
Yeah.
You obviously say you've kids, blah, 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 whatever. You can't say anything in depth.
Yeah.
Maybe. We are back with Felicia and Irv, and boy, they're talking up a storm. They are having a laugh. They're talking about a time in which Bert stood up to someone about snow globe designs or something.
Yes.
Again, very typical Bert. And they're all having a laugh. And that's when Felicia says the cute thing that you mentioned.
Yeah.
She said he'd never seen him being afraid before of anything until he met Irv. Because she says he spent 2 hours on his hair the first time he visited.
That is, I honestly, my heart broke. It's so cute. It's so cute.
So sweet. And that's also when Irv shows all this art he's been drawing, including loads of portrait of Bert. But he's also drawn the black elevator at the end. And she sees it kind of by mistake. I was wondering if he did it, if that was a mistake or if it was just like, oh, oops, lol, you weren't supposed to see that. You know the way Miltrick did with the fake painting in season 1?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he meant that, but anyway, she sees it. And that's when he's like, what do you know about the export
I thought he was a little bit ashamed of that. I don't know if, I think he was
maybe.
like, don't worry about that.
No, in fairness,
But
I'm
you're
just putting
right.
it out there as a theory, but I actually think...
But you're right, why would it be in the same notebook and she shockingly comes across it?
I feel like he just can't control himself in the same way that he's drawing all these, you know, on the outside he's painting all the paintings. On the inside he's like drawing all these... I feel like it's like a physical reaction. He can't stop himself.
God.
So she knows the name of the black elevator at last. It's the exports hall, or the elevator leads to the exports hall. And she says, he's like, I don't know what that is. And she's like, we send a load of shipments there. We used to go ourselves, but now they send a guy.
Who's that guy?
Who's that guy? So exports hall. So that means that's where we last saw Miss Casey. Where is Miss Casey being exported to? Another department? Another Lumen building, as we've learned they're worldwide, and not somewhere else entirely altogether?
There was a show on Channel 4 a couple of years ago called Humans, and it was about these kind of, you know, robots, but very realistic human robots, you know what I mean?
I think I watched a bit of it. Gemma Chan is in it.
Yes,
very
she's
good,
amazing in it. But downstairs in this building is just a load of humans lined up, waiting to be activated. That's what I imagine is downstairs.
Okay.
I'd imagine Gemma's down there. I'd imagine, you know what I mean? I'd imagine maybe Harmony Cobell's daughter or whoever her relation is down there. I'd imagine that all these people are waiting to be activated. And the reason I think that is because Miss Casey said in season 1 that she's only basically been alive for like 17 hours or something like, or she's been awake for 17 hours or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I thought that's because they activated her down.
Okay.
And so as soon as she goes back down, she's not activated.
Yeah.
So she's not counting time.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
We're back with the goat people, and Mark and Helly are being circled. It's very, very tense. Mark is trying to plead with her. She's yelling. She doesn't care. She says they're sending a courier to Milchick. So how far away are they if they're having to send a courier to send a message to Mr. Milchick that they're after turning up there? It's like they're the back beyond.
But do they think an email is a courier or something?
Yeah, who knows? He's pleading with them and he says, what would happen if a goat went missing? Wouldn't you look for it? As a way to kind of plead to their emotions.
But it worked.
It worked because that's when she admits, yes, she does recognise Miss Casey. They used to do sessions in husbandry tanks, which when I looked up, it's specifically breeding tanks for fish. But I'm presuming it's because they have goats.
Breeding?
Breeding tanks for fish.
There's your IVF theory maybe coming up again.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And you know, the others are talking, oh, she told me my outie liked stargazing, it meant so much to me. You could tell they have like an affection for her.
Yeah.
So maybe they didn't want to volunteer the information initially because they were protective of her.
Maybe they thought that these two people were out together.
Yeah, because again, they had said, we were told she was retired. If you suspect otherwise, we won't hinder your search. And that's when we also see the original goat fella from season 1 go up to her and he's kind of like eyeing her and like nearly elbowing her and stuff. And she's like, okay, you can go, but before you go, we want to see our bellies.
Yeah.
And that's when I said to you, is this where they're going to reveal that the innies don't have belly buttons, like in the classic film, Seeing Double, the S Club 7 movie, in which they are cloned and the clones don't have belly buttons?
See, that's a smart place to go.
Is the S Club 7 movie a smart place to go? I'm not sure.
Place to go. Do you know where mine went?
Where?
When they're innies, their belly buttons are innies, and when they're outies, their belly buttons are outies.
Well, like, that would make sense.
Wouldn't it?
That would make more sense than anything
all
we've
they have
seen
to do
in
to
this
become
show.
their innie is just pop it in.
Oh God, no. So yeah, but this goes back to the rumour from last season in which O&D were saying that they thought the macrodata refinement department had pouches and they had like they killed people and stuff.
Yeah,
so again, all of because when they get there initially, it's like they don't know what macrodata refinement is, but they've all heard these variations of tall tales.
But even the Game of Thrones actress,
Gwendolyn Christie, she doesn't have a name in this.
No, her character says, "See, I told you," or something like that, or "We told you." And your man, original goat guy, is like, proves nothing. Like, it seems to be like there's one, like, do you know that saying? There's always one.
Yeah.
There's one in every department who just doesn't trust. It was Felicia last thing in O&D. It was Dylan in MDR. Do you know what I mean? And it's this guy in that one. There's always one, Fionnuala.
Yeah, there's always
They ruin it for everyone.
The visitation session between Dylan and Gretchen is over. It's Miss Juan comes in. I don't know how much they've been talking since even the picture reveal. It kind of implies that, I don't know, maybe like, because when Miss Juan comes in, they're not like chatting away or whatever. It's quiet. And that's when Dylan says, I'll be good. I'm going to make you all proud. And she says, I'm always proud of you, Dylan. They hug. And she says, I love you. And she says, oh, like, sorry, it's just like habit, whatever. And again, that's when we're back in the outie world with Dylan. The kids are all watching TV and Gretchen is getting ready to go. She's saying Merrick needs his ear thing. So she's asking Dylan to do this because presumably
it's
Dylan
like, he said an elastic band over the ear or something around the ear. You need something to do with the ear.
You need something
loops
done to
around
his
the ear or something.
So she asks it, she's like, can you do that? Because Dylan is obviously staying home. She must work nights.
Yeah.
And she has also said, oh, you need cookies for, again, this other school thing. He hasn't done the cookies. And that goes back to her point about him being a bit useless. She's like, they're in a tube. You slice them up.
Slice them up.
Will you just do it?
Yeah.
No, she doesn't seem annoyed, but she is kind of a bit exasperated is probably the better whatever.
But I did think that, just to go back to when they're saying goodbye in the security room, I did think, that's incredibly clever of Lumen to bring her in for 18 minutes, right? Because Dylan is going to do everything in his power to see her again. And by that, I mean he's going to work until his hands bleed. Yeah.
And maybe they won't need the others to finish Cold Harbour then.
No. Dylan could do it on his own.
Maybe he'll inevitably be assigned Cold Harbour. As I said, it kind of looked like she was dressed like a police officer. I don't know, like she's a tie and like a blue shirt. That's all I'm...
Yeah. We didn't massively see.
Yeah. Cut to the next scene. Bloody Natalie from Lumen has only gone and met Rickon about his book.
Oh my God, this freaked me out. I was like, is that Natalie?
No, this is so, because this is the worst possible outcome, because obviously nobody takes Rickon seriously, right?
No.
So for Rickon to be taken seriously by anyone, even by a company that he doesn't respect, as he said previously, Natalie Kaelin has met him and is like, oh, the Innies love the book.
Yeah.
The Innies are obsessed with the book. Will you do a different version? Can we readapt it for the Innies? And that's when Devin comes along as well, and Devin is like, oh, what's going on here? Who's this? It's like, oh, it's Natalie Kaelin from Lumen. And has her back up at Lumen altogether. So she's like really not engaging with this conversation. But she does also question, she's like, why do you need to readapt the book if the Innies liked the original book so much? And again, it's kind of like, it's not flirty, but you can tell Natalie's good at her job. She's certain charmed her, and like Rickon is charmed her.
I really like her. She's charming to me.
Yeah.
I like Natalie.
And that's when he's like, oh, well, you explain it better, lol. And she says there's certain verbiage they respond to more favourably.
Which is true.
Think
about when Dylan asked his wife, or said, it was like, nice sack. And he thought that was totally normal. He was like, just the thing you have. He was talking about a bag.
Yeah. So that's why she wants it rewritten. Devin is again like, I kind of don't really care. Eleanor needs a bottle in an hour. And she kind of goes to go off. And that's again when Natalie said, your brother is one of the sweetest members of our severed team. And she's again like, okay, bye. We learn she's meeting up with Mark S. But
sorry, can I just go ask you, why would Natalie want Rickon's book for the Innies? Because it's not Keir. Keir didn't write it.
But I think because she knows it's leaked already inside, this is obviously her job in kind of like making up the fuck up, you know what I mean? So she knows some of them have read the book. So she's like, okay, we'll just give them a different version of the book because we can't pretend that it didn't happen.
That tells them to go to work.
Essentially, yeah. They're going to rewrite it that it doesn't have any of... like it's completely rewritten essentially, or maybe they'll pass it off as a sequel or something where it's like, and Rickon was like, actually I was wrong, work, class. Yeah. We should do that more often.
Refine that macro data.
Refine that macro data for me. She's gone off to meet Mark, and they're looking to make like an after image for none of this made sense to me, but it obviously makes sense later. They're working on something, an after image for 2.5 minutes, and Mark is saying about how he's timed it from the parking spot to the elevator, that it's about 2.5 minutes. They're working on this little message thing that says, who is alive, right? And that's when we're back with Mark. Mark is in a car, he's driven somewhere. I think did we both think it was the office?
I thought it was the office car park, and he was getting ready. I thought he was going early because it was still dark. I thought he was going early to do the light box thing, because I thought... As we learned, I thought that was basically what was going to happen. Yeah. He was going to try and ingrain something through the light. Yeah. And I thought maybe
reflect it back in his eyes or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But I was kind of a little bit confused, but I did think he was in the office. I thought he was at the car park, and then it was just like, wait, where the fuck is he? Did you know where he is?
No.
Okay.
But we do learn.
Yes.
Helen has finished work. She's got a private car waiting for her outside Lumen, which I think is interesting because she drove herself, or she was walking somewhere after her first day in season 1. Do you remember when Mark almost runs her over?
Yeah.
She's walking to her own car or something.
That is weird.
Yeah. What has happened in the meantime that she's like, because it seems like she's risen up the ranks even since that episode.
Yeah, anyway. She was walking to her own car like a pleb.
Yeah. Pathetic. Cobell is waiting for her in the car park. And she goes to speak to her. She's like, she's flanked by this bodyguard as well at the car. But she goes over to speak to Cobell, and that's when Cobell says, if you want me back, you must accommodate my needs. MDR is non-negotiable. Mark S. is so close to completing Cold Harbour. I intend to finish the work I started. Milchick must go. He's not equipped for the task. Ellie replies, I hear ego, hubris, arrogance. Keir teaches us these only cause pain. And that's when Cobell, again, is kind of firing back to be like, well, like, I've worked here. I've earned this. She said, earned through industry, not because I was born into it. She hates that ginger nepo baby. She's like, fuck you,
yeah, she does hate her. But I don't think does Ellie care? Like, I think when you're born into, I feel like if you're born into something like that.
No, she does not care.
I'm like, what? That's not a slag. Everyone said that to me since the second I was born. I don't give a shit.
No, she sees her, because she is like a blood relative, she sees herself as above it, like, you know?
Literally, of course. That's
when she says, you've overestimated your contributions and underestimated your blessings. And that's when she says something significant that I want to come back to. She says, why don't we reset? It doesn't have to be this way. She starts texting and ringing someone. We learn she's ringing the board. Or she rings Natalie to see if the board is available for Miss Cobell and myself. They are. So she's like, why don't we go speak to them together? And you can tell she starts walking towards the building. Ultimately, she hesitates.
Because the Helly's like driver / bodyguard.
The bodyguard kind of steps forward.
Steps forward a little bit. And I thought that was weird because what happens next. She kind of runs away.
Yeah. Here's what I think was going to happen. You know the way she says, why don't we reset? They weren't meeting the board again. They weren't going to do another, what we saw in episode 2, where they were all sitting down in the boardroom having, like, they've tried that already.
But she knows that they're, you know what I mean? She's never going to meet the board.
No, and she's never going to meet the board. But like, there's going to be no meeting of, there's going to be no negotiation on this.
But that was clever of Helena, because she all she has to say is, "Oh, let's go meet the board."
Let's go meet the board.
Because Cobell back in the day, or like, you know, only even 2 weeks ago, would have been like, "Oh, fuck yeah, let's go meet the board."
I think they were going to reset her literally.
But she's not severed.
I know, but I think you could still find a way to send them into the testing floor or something, or sever them. Then I think she could have been taken to be severed or killed or something. I think when she was saying reset, she meant it like quite literally.
I agree, because there is some corporate jargon in there that's used in weird ways, and I kind of hate that. But like, let's reset. It's so creepy. When in actual fact, it could just be, right, let's just start over. Let's just have another meeting. Let's just chat. But it sounds so creepy. The only reason I go against your theory is because the bouncer, the bodyguard didn't do anything. He didn't run after her. They let her go. Knowing that she's actually probably the most dangerous person to Lumen. She knows everything, and she is pissed off. The bodyguard didn't do anything. He didn't run after her. And I thought that was weird.
They have people elsewhere. I think they have grainers.
Well, he's like, I'm not wasting my energy running after her.
He's like,
she's going to get shot as soon as she's out of the car park.
Point blank range. Then we're back with Mark. Mark is in the car. He's like counting. And that's again when we learn, he's counting 33, 34, 35, 36. That's when we learn that your theory is right. He's trying to literally burn the message into his retinas so that his innie sees it.
Yeah.
He's doing it, as you said, with a light box and like under a quilt. I don't know. I don't really understand science.
I've done it on like my phone before. Do you know what I mean? Like, you kind of, it's like, hey, look at this optical illusion. And now it's like, close your eyes and look at the light. And as soon as you do that, you can see a drawing or something like that. You know, I've done that loads of times.
But they can't, as Dr. Ragabi explains, because who pops up? Only Dr. Ragabi.
Woo!
Because presumably he's after parking near enough to where her lab is or something. Because how are they haven't been able to be in touch since.
No.
We presume anyway. Dr. Ragabi turns up and she's very cross.
Yeah.
Like the crossest I've ever seen her. She's like...
Well, she's never really been that warm.
No, true, but like she's really like... Mark's like, oh, but because she's like, were you trying to burn something into your retinas? Mark, I open the door, and he's like not really immediately opening the door.
Yeah, but he's not afraid. He's just like, oh, come on, do we have to do this?
Well, like, I don't know necessarily if he's afraid of her. No, I will say also Dr. Gabi literally killed someone, so I would be afraid of her.
I know, but he wasn't actually afraid. He was like, he was kind of ambivalent. He was like, well, no, go away. I thought he was kind of looking at her like, you know what I mean? Like, you look at that worker who sits beside you who never shuts up, and you're like, hey, yeah.
Give it a rest.
What do you want?
But that's when she says, unlock this fucking door. There's an easier way. So that's when she's in the car, and you said it. You immediately were like reintegration.
Yeah,
okay.
Has to be.
But that's when Mark is kind of letting these questions because obviously he's asked who is alive, so he's not like 100% convinced that Gemma is dead. But I don't think he hasn't let himself be 100% convinced that she's alive either, because obviously that opens the door. But Ragabi gives him the confirmation that Gemma is alive, because he asks her. He's like, "Is Gemma alive?" She hesitates for too long a time. He gets enough of a hint from that, but then she says, "She was the last time I saw her."
Massive.
Boom.
Huge.
Boom. Oh my golly goshers. And that's why, to be honest, that's why it lines up with my theory, I think. I think she is alive somewhere, but they're just tinkering away with her. Mark gets out of the car because, needless to say, he's freaked as all hell.
Yeah.
He's like, "What do you mean my wife's alive? Like, what
He's
the
nearly about
fuck?"
to get sick again, which is 100% of the time Ragabi has seen Mark, he has nearly
He's always puking.
He's always puking.
He's always vomiting his hole up. He's like, "How could you not tell me?" And she's like, "Look, we can't even get into this right now because we only have 10 minutes of the episode left, so we need to speed through this." Reintegration. She says, "I'm better at it now." But funnily enough, as you pointed out, he didn't even hesitate. He was like, "Let me see my wife." He said, "Do it.
Not
Do
even
it right
a
now.
second thought.
I want to see my wife." So then Ragabi, it kind of, did it imply that time has passed? Because it seemed like Mark was back at his house or something, thinking about it or something. Did I pick this up wrong? It seemed like Mark was in a different place initially before he was back in Ragabi's lab.
Yeah, it's like they drove maybe together to, or something, with a shit ton of her stuff to his gaff because they're in his basement.
Oh, they're in his... Okay, that makes sense. I was wrong. They're in his basement and she has set up this makeshift lab in his basement. She's pouring like salt into dishes and stuff like that. And he's hooked up to this machine. Reader, listener, I'm not explaining what's happening because I don't fully understand. But
no, it's kind of like an eye test. And his head is in this little square thing.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like hooked up to something like that. Basically, what she's trying to do is sync up the two personalities. The waves need to be in sync.
It's excellently done.
Yeah.
To how to like describe what she's doing.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very good.
His hand starts rising involuntarily. So she kind of like turns the machines down initially and he's like, am I all right? And she's like, yeah. She's like, I'm going to start asking you some questions. So they're going to start easy and they're going to get harder. So that's when she says, do you remember protocol? And he's like joking because again, very dry, outy Mark. He's like, have we started? And she's like, no, we haven't started. The protocol question. Yeah. No, that was just to remember, to ask him about, when they first land in.
Yeah.
Obviously, Audi Mark wouldn't remember that.
No, of course.
You know what I mean? So he's still fully an Audi Mark, so of course he doesn't know. So that's when she says, who am I? We learned that her name is Asil Ragabi. Where are we? We're in a basement. What's your mother's name? His mother's name is Fern Scout. He asks what his mother's eye colour is. He doesn't answer straight away.
I kind of think I'd be the same.
Fair. But again, we get that hilarious aside from Ragabi going, seriously?
Yeah,
and then he's like, brown, it's brown. Then she says, what does MDR stand for? And obviously he doesn't have a breeze because he doesn't know what the fuck he does for work.
He's like, what? Micro... Wrong, she says.
Wrong, yeah. What is something for which you feel shame? And he explains that his dog died when he was younger. He opened the door and left the dog run out and the dog died. And then we get, where were you born? And that's when he starts flicking into innie and outie. And the innie is like on the table that we saw at the very start of the show when Helly was dropped in. He's on that boardroom table, but he's hooked up to the same wires. And then he's, or no, actually, I think what she asks is, what month is it? And that's when he says, don't you mean what quarter?
Oh, what a line.
And that's when everything starts like splicing together. We're hearing PD's voice. We're seeing the difference between the red and the blue. It's like all frantic. Episode ends.
A beautiful episode.
Banger.
Absolutely fantastic.
Such a banger.
I loved it. And I already can't wait to watch it again.
Do you reckon Ragabi has gotten better at integration, or is Mark going to face the same fate as poor old PD?
I don't understand how she could have gotten better at integration. Who is she doing it with? Do you know what I mean?
Grainer? No, Grainer's dead.
No, Grainer's definitely dead.
R.I.P.
But it could be other people that she's... Like, Mark could just be one of a few. You know what I mean? This story could be completely topped on his head, where it's... Like, he could be one of loads that are, freaking out and don't want to be there, but also want to know what's going on. Although I feel like Lumen would be a little bit more aware of that and would try and stop that. But so far, we've only seen 2 reintegrations, and one of them's Mark.
Yeah. I'm scared. I'm
scared because episode 4 is supposed to be huge.
Yes, and I kept saying, as I've repeatedly said, like, I thought it was attached to Dylan, and now I'm like, I don't know, like, is he going to be able to... Is he going to see Gemma? Like, are we going to see? Is there going to be a reintroduction of Miss Casey? I'm so scared.
Yeah. I thought maybe there would be. I thought maybe there's something to do with Miss Casey because if we saw Mark meeting Miss Casey, that'd be the biggest moment in TV that I think I'll have ever seen. I'll be like,
the internet will be so unbearable that day. Oh my god, oh my god, I can't wait.
Do you know what I was thinking? If Tumblr was still around, how annoying it would be for this show because it would just be everywhere.
Again, I have to say, I am loving the TikTok. So, guys, just follow me and you'll get all my reposts of... honestly, they need to be hiring the people who are editing these fan cams because they're just incredible.
They're so good. But yeah, an excellent episode. No notes again. And also, we're really getting far each episode. Like, we get a lot.
Yeah.
Do you mean for season 1, there was a couple of episodes where we didn't get that much?
No, I was glad. I'm glad Ragabi's back. I'm glad the goats are brought back into it because if they'd left it any longer, I would have been like, guys, what's going on here?
Yeah, but we're also no clear. We've no answers.
Oh, no, we're no clear. We haven't a breeze.
About anything.
Not a breeze.
No.
Brilliant. Thank God we're doing a podcast about it. Dave, thank you so much.
Thank you, Fionnuala.
Thank you so much, listeners. As always, we will be chatting about the show in the Patreon chat. That's patreon.com/flopculture. Feel free to send any other theories. helloflopculture@gmail.com. Otherwise, we will be back next week. Praise Keir.
Can't wait. Praise Keir.